What's happening? What's happening? I'd like to welcome everybody to another chop session of Rap and Dough. It's the home of money conversations. Of course, I'm your host, Don Bucks, and we're gonna get into a pretty dope conversation today. I have a young lion of a lawyer who recently started her own practice. Um, I need to get some insight from her perspective in regards to how to navigate or how that even looks to be a black female lawyer, in this climate that we're living in today, with all that we have going on. But just like any other time, we are highlighting black excellence. Um, and this is money conversations, right? We like to see each other on this platform. We like to see each other flourish and possibly give up some game in regards to how more of us can exude some excellence. You know what I'm saying? Um, I haven't been live for the past couple days, but I'm back. Um, yeah, I'm back. So yesterday, I actually was going to attempt to come on here and talk about, like I told y'all in the previous couple sessions, that I was going to be touching on all of the content from 2019. Rapido started. This whole platform was geared towards, um, you know, exposing our people to entrepreneurship, to stock market investing, because, my backstory, I fortunately was able to work with my dad in the family business going on 30 years. So I know a little bit about being an entrepreneur, right? Um, so one hang up for me was the fact that um, not a lot of people was giving up any entrepreneurship game in my town. I'm from Trenton, New Jersey, and you know, just like any other inner city, it has its share of bullshit going on, right? Um, but in the midst of that, we do have some black entrepreneurs that spread out across the city. A few people doing their thing, but one thing I noticed is that nobody was giving up no game, right? Nobody was giving up any entrepreneurship game that I know of at the time. And I said that I knew of. I didn't know of anybody, excuse me, that I looked up to or respected, um, that was giving up any entrepreneurship game. Now, there may be a blurred line there between him wanting to teach it or share it and the people that was ready to receive it, right? Um, there's a conversation to be had about that, because you can be talking to a room full of closed ears, right? You can be trying to put forth some dope shit in front of people who don't want to hear it. You got a lot of that, right? So there's a conversation to be had about that as well. Do you forge ahead when no one's listening? Do you assert yourself where it seems like no one's paying attention? Right. That's a question to be had. I mean, a conversation to be had, because you have people that may want to give game, but feel discouraged because you don't think no one's listening. Right. Me personally, I experienced that to a degree when, like I said, in 2019, I started talking about the stock market and Entrepreneurship. I didn't come from the stock market, but I came from entrepreneurship. But I know that these two things are the source, one of the sources, should I say, of the wealth gap. We don't have enough business ownership, and we don't have enough stock market participation amongst us. So here I am screaming from the rooftops, yo, we need to get our own businesses. Yo, we need to invest in the stock market. Nobody was feeling it, boy. They may have been feeling me, but they ain't let me know. They ain't let me know, right? But I didn't stop. That's where I'm going with this. So there is a conversation to be had about people that are that want to give game, but feel as though it's going to fall on deaf ears. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to have that conversation with anyone. Actually, I might bring that up today with our guest, who should be popping in here in a few minutes, Miss Ava Murray. But yeah, do you forge ahead when you believe no one's listening, or you think no one's listening? Because I had plenty of these conversations, but I got blinders on when it comes to what I got going on, because I know this is dope information. I know it's dope information because the people that I guess have seen me to this point, I'm gonna put it like this: everyone hasn't heard it yet. Everyone hasn't heard it yet. Everyone hasn't seen your business yet, right? A lot of times we want to rush the traction. We want to rush the result. But in actuality, your consistency, it's gonna pay dividends, but you have to stick with it. You got to stick with it. For example, last year, maybe about a year and a half ago, almost a year and a half ago, I had about 200 followers on Instagram. 200 whole followers, like last year, a year and a couple months ago. I'm pushing 1,800 at this point. It's not 18,000, but it's definitely times 7. No, times almost, it's about times 8. So what is that? That's about 400% increase in a year. Keep going. The moral of the story: keep going. But everybody is not with the shit when it comes to that. You're like, oh man, these jokers ain't listening. All right, I'm about to move on to the next thing. And that's the issue we have too. But at the end of the day, it's patience. I think it's just patience. Delayed gratification, something that we don't really have that much of in our community. We don't have much delayed gratification. We want everything right now. Actually, we want it yesterday. We want everything yesterday. And that's one of the differences between us and a lot of cultures. That's one of the differences. They preach they preach delayed gratification. What the heck is it? They preach delayed gratification. Don't try to look and be rich before it's your time. Does that sound familiar? Like, for example, the Jews, like they talk about delaying gratification for greater achievements later. Like we don't want to settle for something small that we can have right now. We want the big, grander stuff, right? We're not going to act like we're rich now. We're going to be really rich later. So a lot of times, that's not preached in our households, especially not to the kids. If the parents is out here blowing the tax return checks, what do you think the kids doing? So that's not really taught at a high level in our community. But delayed gratification, man, you got to keep going when you don't see results immediately. Right? I mean, that's easier said than done, of course. Right? Ain't nobody liking your posts. Ain't nobody liking your videos. It takes a special kind of person to keep going. But I think you have to realize that what you're saying is dope. You have to come to that realization that what you're saying is dope. And what you're saying, people need to hear. Because if you don't believe if you don't believe what you got going on is dope, how anybody else gonna believe what you got going on dope? Sips tea. Nah, seriously. How is anybody else gonna believe what you got is dope if you don't believe it's dope? Like, I know this information is fire. So somebody's gonna hear it one day. And they're gonna be like, damn, that was fire. Mind you, it's the same thing I've been saying for the past 5 years. But that's what it's about. It's about pushing forward, whether you think they listening or not. Right. So today I want to chop it up and get some insight from young Black winner doing her thing out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear her perspective on because it's a whole experience being Black doing shit, right? Y'all know this, right? It's not the same being a host. There's a difference between a host and it's a difference between a Black host. It's a difference between an X-ray technician and a Black X-ray technician. Ask me how I know. Because I went to school to be a X-ray technician. I went to college for applied science, and one of the requisites was to get your degree is to do 2 years of clinical clinical work. Clinical work is basically working in a hospital, doing x-rays. So that's in addition to the schoolwork. So I'm gonna keep it real simple. Like I said, there is a difference between being an x-ray technician and a Black x-ray technician. It's a difference being a Black everything. So that's why I want to get her perspective of being a Black lawyer, and how she's navigating this space, because I'm pretty sure it's interesting. You know, most and only time we see lawyers is if they working for us, not us actually being the lawyer. So this should be a pretty interesting conversation. She should be tapping in any moment, but if not, we're going to continue this conversation anyway. Well, I just got a text saying she can't make it. So I'm going to continue on without what I was talking about. And guess what? One thing I want to touch on before I move on is the fact that we have to stop being scared. You got to stop being scared, y'all. Fear will hold you back from doing a lot of amazing things. And I think a sense of accomplishment, a sense of power comes from doing something that you're scared of. They say that the average person, more than the average, is scared to death of public speaking. Scared to death to stand up and talk to people. Scared to death, literally scared to death. They say more than 50% of people, probably 75 to 80% of people, would rather be in the casket than give the eulogy at a funeral. That's how scared they are of talking. And I say that to say, recently I had 2 interviews set up. One young lady said she's a serial entrepreneur. Okay, you're a serial entrepreneur. Okay, you out here going crazy with it, huh? So I said, okay. You know what I mean? Let me have her talk her shit on the platform. Boom. Like, yo, you want to come poly with me? Have a conversation on Rapping Dough. Okay, what day? Set it up. I send her the link. Last minute, she like, oh, something came up. I'm like, okay. What time you gonna be done? So she like, I'm actually kind of nervous. I said, that's what it is. Ain't no emergency come up. Ain't no emergency come up. You nervous. But I'm like, yo, forget the fact that we live and the whole world is watching. Never mind that. Never mind that. Just pay attention to me and just act like we're having a regular conversation on FaceTime. Right? Oh, you know what? Yeah, that makes me feel a lot better. Okay. Um, Long story short, never had that conversation. I think fear overtook her. But guess what that just did though? She has a dope foundation, nonprofit, where she's teaching vital skills to the youth as far as business, economics. This is what her nonprofit does. Her fear just shut down possible connections for her being on a platform that's worldwide. Fear. No telling what could have came out of that conversation because it was going on YouTube. The whole world can watch it. That was her shot at. I don't know how many times you get these kind of shots. I mean, I'm not the biggest podcast out here, but but I'm going to be right. And these videos live on here forever. So it's no telling who would have seen this at what period of time they would have seen it. Here comes this $100 million donation. But because you were scared and lost that opportunity, not saying that another one might not come, but you missed that one. I'm just saying, we got to stop being scared because a lot of times, if you do the thing that you're scared of, when you get done, you be like, yo, that shit wasn't even that bad. I want to do it again. And that's what we want to get to. We want to get to the point where we do something we were scared of, and now we realize that it wasn't no big monster after all. And now we want more. We want more of this shit that we were scared of because we know there's nothing on the other side of it. It's nothing on the other side of it. Fear is false evidence appearing real. I know y'all heard that before. It's not real. That is not a giant. Like Kanye said, man, I got to do stuff that y'all think that is not, I shouldn't be doing, but I got to do it so y'all can see that that's not a real wall there. That's not a real wall. It's just a smoke screen. A lot of times when you do the thing, on the other side of it, you like, damn, I'm that dude. After all, bring on some more. Give me some more. I'm telling you, once you start knocking down shit or doing the shit that you were scared of, you're gonna be like, you get on the other side of it and you're like, yo, that shit wasn't even about nothing. Give me some more. Now you out here beasting goals because you know that on the other side of doing the thing is victory and strength. You dig? But what I was going to talk about, being that she can't make it, I'm just going to touch on one or two more topics that I was going to come on here and talk about last night. But I just want to get these. Sometimes we got to talk it out. Sometimes we got to, get the stuff out of our head. I mean, I have it on paper, but it's still not all the way together. I was talking about, of course, like I said, I'm running back all the content from 2019. In this particular topic, we was talking about whether time is money or not. Whether time is money. And that's an interesting question that we can really spend a lot of time on. And I'm not probably going to do all of that in this setting, but we only have 24 hours in a day. And I don't believe time is money. I think time is relative because there's different time zones, right? I don't even know if this is going to make any sense, but uh, there's different time zones. There's 24 hours in a day. Now, this is what we know of right here on this plane, that physical plane that we're on. There's time here. But I was also thinking about outer space. Are they keeping time out of space? Is there time on other planets? This might go a little far out because we have to start tackling some of the stuff that we've been saying and not really giving any thought to. All right. You just can't be running around here saying stuff and don't really know what the hell it means. Time is relative. I believe. I believe time is relative. Because who created the damn clock? Who created time? Who even said there's hours? Who separated day and night with hours? Okay, it's 12 o'clock. Oh, it's 1 o'clock. Who did that? Right? We got to start looking at stuff and stop just accepting everything these school systems just tell us. Right? And think that we know it all because we graduated high school or we graduated college. It's shit that they didn't even teach us that we should know at the lowest of grade levels. Some people never even learn how to write a check, fill out a job application, even though that's what they're training us to get in school, jobs. They ain't teaching us to be owners, creators. You got to take some elective with some shit. You probably ain't gonna get all the information there. Right? Didn't they tell us that America was a bigger continent than Africa? You look at the real map, Africa bigger than America and a couple other continents put together. But that's what they taught us in school. So is time really money? Right? I think we need to start looking at that a little bit more and the value of time. Because it has more than a monetary value, I believe. Like, for example, I recently started delegating or having somebody else wash my comforters because I knew that it took a nice amount of time to do it. I could be doing something else. I'd rather not be sitting there washing my comforters, even though I know that they have to get done. It has to get done, but what could I be spending my time doing that's more productive, right? Because there's a lot of things in life that need to be done. But do you need to necessarily be spending your time doing it yourself? So time might be. I think we've been playing time. We've been planning. I don't think we give it the value that it deserves. We saying it's money. Time is way more valuable than money. Even though, yes, you can make more money if you had more time to make it. But what about the other shit that you can do with more time? Right? Like instead of sitting there 3 hours with my comforters, I can be using those 3 hours to create something that can help millions of people. Right? That's not monetary. That's not a monetary benefit. But it's a benefit like a mug, ain't it? So this is the time piece. And it's crazy that I have these 3 years to look back on what I was thinking back then. Because we all have 24 hours, right? So there's only so much money that we can make with ourselves, with our own effort. We're limited by time in regards to what we can physically and humanly do ourselves. This is why the power of duplication is necessary, or even knowing about the power of duplication. You want to duplicate yourself. You want to have more views doing the task. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. This is why some people have more than others, and we all have the same 24 hours. Because they realize they can't do all of these dope things they want to do by themselves. But we was taught to do stuff by ourselves. That's why it's more people that have less. It's less people that control the majority of the wealth because they know something. They know they can't do it by themselves. They know they have to duplicate themselves because they only have 24 hours in a day. So in order to get more done than I can physically do, I have to duplicate myself or multiply my efforts with other people. J. Paul Getty, creator of Getty Gas Station, he said, I'd rather have 1% of 100 men's effort than 100% of my own. Hence why he has a franchise of Getty gas stations. So now he can get 1% from 100 people. And those 1% is crazy. What's 1% of 15 million, right? What if one station is doing 30 million? What's 1% of that? So 1% of 100 people rather than try to do everything myself. And I'm limited to my 24 hours. So we need to be duplicating ourselves because time is worth way more than money. So we need to be freeing up a lot of it so we can do things that money can't pay for. Like spend time with your kids. Like be able to take your kids to school and pick them up from school instead of having a bus pick them up and drop them off. Maybe it's something as simple as that. But we need to figure out ways to duplicate ourselves. Excuse me. Right. There's plenty of ways you can do that. So you can create some dividend income. You can get something you can rent on a consistent basis, rent your living space, you can rent a car. So that's money that can come in at 24 hours a day. You can write an ebook, so that doesn't limit your time. You can make money from anywhere in the world. There's different ways to duplicate yourself, but you have to realize that it has to be done. If you don't understand the importance of it, you're not going to do it. But until you, my listening audience, figure out or understand the fact that you can only work, it's only 24 hours in a day. It's only so much you can do on your own. We have to figure out ways to expand our earning potential without us having to be there. So I'm going to end it on that. Time is worth way more than money. And till next time, it's your boy Don